Welcome, welcome. We do 20-30 minutes of side split related exercises daily to practice consistency. And we're going to start right now with hip cars. CARS stands for CAR, and it's controlled articulated rotations. We're going to start by lifting the knee up, open the hips wide, throw the ankle up, leg down and back. All right, that's this. And we're going to do 10 reps. All right, switch to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's do them in reverse. Back, side. I think this is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, last hip car going in reverse order. And if I haven't explained it and you don't know what it is, reverse order looks like this. Gonna go leg back, sideways, ankle down, leg forward. I'm gonna do that again, facing you. Leg back, sideways, ankle forward. We got 8 more. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Hello, read my name, please. Hi, Suraj. All right. Let's see. We just wrapped up hip cars. Next up is elephant walk. Another comment pop in. What are you doing? Excited for another stretch session. Liverpool B Snecko Panda. We are doing 20-30 minutes of side split related stretching. What we just finished, as your comment was coming in, was hip cars. Hip cars look like this. And the goal is to move your hip and your leg through the full range of motion using your muscle power. So it helps you strengthen your muscles doing the extreme range of motion stuff, and it helps you control your leg doing those things. Oh man, a lot of comments are coming in. Queen R, thank you for the excitement. And Suraj has a second person supporting him by saying his name. All right. Next up is the elephant walk. To do the elephant walk, we get into sort of this L-shaped position. If you're not flexible enough to get into an L-shaped position, you can come up a little bit, wherever you are, as long as it's a little bit challenging. All right. Next up, we're going to bend one knee. I'm going to bend the further away knee, and we're going to straighten the other leg. Now, I call this a sassy hip. You kind of just stick your butt out into the leg that is straight, and sort of like this. All right. The reason why you're doing this is we're trying to feel a really deep stretch in this hip area, and adding a little bit of sass helps you do that. All right, so bring your belly button and your chest down. You should start feeling the stretch in your hamstrings and a little bit in this outer glute. To really feel that outer glute stretch, grab your ankle or your shin bone somewhere around here and try to open up your torso towards the leg that's straightened. My right leg is straight, and I'm rotating my chest so that my torso is turned to the right. All right, if it helps, you can try and make it a little bit more yoga-like. Point your arms into the air, pick a position, and really work that torso. You should feel the stretch even more in your hip when you're up here. And if you don't yet, either you have really nice loose hips, or you just need to bring your chest a little bit lower down. It's a lot of stuff that I just threw at you, but the focus is L shape, bend one leg, rotate your chest towards the straightened leg. All right. We're gonna do 10 reps of those. We're gonna start nice and easy and take the first couple of what am I even saying? We're gonna take the first couple slow and nice and gentle. My left side is quite tingly, so I need a couple of extra seconds to get that one warmed up. This is my first time doing hamstring stretches all day, so I need a little bit of kindness to myself to get into a comfortable position. Because remember, at the end of the day, we're just here to practice consistency and make a little bit of progress towards our goals. We're not trying to kill ourselves. If we beat ourselves up every single day, we're probably not going to get to the side split goals, and we'll probably get injured first. And that's a whole lot of backwards work. All right. If you're feeling stiff or weird at any point, feel free to reset, shake out your legs, and get back into it. I think we are at 7. We're going for a total of 10 on both sides. 8. If at any point you feel like these are getting too easy, try to bring your belly button and chest further down and work on getting deeper into that rotation. All right. I think that is it for the elephant walks. I'm going to check the chat to see if anything else is in here. Am I English? I speak English, but I'm not from England, if that's what you're asking. I'm based in the US. All right. Next up, we got Cossack Switches. Cossack Switches look a little bit like this. We're going to get into a stance where our toes are kind of pointing 45, 60-ish degrees out from our center line. Widen the stance, so that's about twice your hips width, and we're going to get wider from there. I want you to drop down to one side. Try to feel the hip joint right here. Try to keep the knees above your toes, and try not to have your knees go too far in or too far out. Let me show it to you from this side. I don't want your knees to be out here while your foot is here, because it's putting a lot of pressure into the knee joint over there. And there are times to train that way. This is not one of those times. If you can, try and see if you can get a stretch in the ankle by leaning forward. If you're feeling like you're off balance and you're squirming, try to keep the heel down to get a more stable foot. And once you've spent a couple seconds here, I want you to switch to the other side. Try to keep your butt low for the Cossack switch. And when you get to the other side, sometimes in different positions, focusing on different things. Maybe your heel will come up. Maybe you'll work on your hip more. Maybe you'll feel your knee less. It's totally flexible to play with the stretch to help you feel like you're more comfortable in a position. So I might give you suggestions. Those aren't hard set rules for the most part, but be careful when you play around. All right? All right, let's keep going. We're going to do 5 of these total from side to side, and then switch to the actual stretches. This is just warm up to get our blood pumping and our muscles warmed up. So when we do the stretches, we get the best results out of that time spent. All right, so a couple messages come in. That was last of the Cossack switches. This is hard. Said hi. Yeah, you don't have to go nearly as deep. If you're just here, this is a great start. You get lower, even better. And this is what it's all about. It takes consistency and a lot of effort regularly in order to make progress. And the goal is to show up a little bit every single day so that we have this community space so that people can come in and make time to stretch together. Whoa, where did that come from? I just coughed on something in my throat. It's the stretch together. All right. We just did the entirety of the warm-up. So next up, we're going to get into the stretches. I really like this variation of the hamstring stretch. It does require a little bit of balance and a little bit of stability. So figure out what you need, and I'll cue you up to help you figure it out. All right, so we're going to do the hamstring stretch. I like to start standing. Take a step forward with the leg you want to stretch. Then throw your hips back. All right, so we want to try and create a situation where your leg is getting this angle and your back is mostly horizontal. That way, you're stretching your hamstrings and you're getting gravity to pull your chest down and put pressure into that hamstring stretch. Instead of using your own muscles, you're using gravity. That way, it's a way more powerful stretch. All right, we stretch on one leg so that we don't share the force between 2 legs, and that helps you get into a deeper stretch, and hopefully it's more successful. All right, So once you're in this position, keep in mind where your hip is. If you put your hip further back, you get into a deeper stretch. If you bring your hip up, you get into a less deep stretch while keeping your back horizontal. If your hip is all the way up here and you can bring your chest all the way down, you can still hit that same angle, but the way gravity is impacting the weight of your chest is a little bit different. All right. All right. That's all the explanation. Let's get into the stretch. Try to fold at the hips. Use your belly button as the key point that you're trying to move. If you focus on your head, notice that your belly button can stay in the same place, but your head can go all over the place. All right. So try to bring your belly button down to your thigh. We're going to hold that pressure for 30 seconds. All right. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whew. All right, I'm going to pop in, check some comments. I saw a lot of movement on the screen. Thank you for subscribing, Liverpool. I appreciate it. How to middle splits in 30 days. It's pretty unlikely you're going to get there unless you're already super flexible. And I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings or make you want the middle splits less. I'm saying this because for most people, if you haven't been training in the sport and you haven't been trying to get flexible for a while, it takes a little bit of time for your body to adjust. And 30 days is not that much. If you go and think about the bodybuilding world, most athletes, when they first start bodybuilding, don't really see a change in their body composition at all for the first 30 days. And some people say that other people won't notice for as many as like 2 months. So, wow, it's a wonderful idea that people can get the middle splits in 30 days. And there's definitely intense and more intense training methods to speed up the process. They tend to hurt more and require a lot more dedication to pain. So it's not 100% the way that we do it on this platform. We're trying to practice consistency and make progress a little bit every single day. And hopefully that skill set of being consistent and working towards your goal every day applies to all the other things that you want to do and accomplish in life. And, you know, the side splits is a bonus part of what you got done. All right, it's enough rambling. Let's get to the other hamstring stretch. So same thing, stand up straight, step forward with the leg you want to stretch, throw the hips back, create that nice angle for the hamstring stretch, and take a couple of deep breaths. Try to relax a little bit into the stretch because your leg is probably flexing really hard and is all tense and is uncomfortable. And now, belly button to thigh. Ready? 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whew. It's totally normal for your legs to be not perfectly even and for you to have a more flexible leg and a less flexible leg. I have an old injury in my left hamstring, so I always struggle a little bit more with stretching on my left side. This feels good. I'm glad you feel that way, Liverpool. And one of the reasons that I used to talk about more often, but haven't recently, about why I do the stretch this way is, for example, when you look at this angle that we're creating, between our upper body and the leg. This is a good angle for the hamstring stretch, right? This is maybe 60, 70 degrees. If I were to do the same stretch without gravity's help from a seated position and know that I already stretched, right? So I'm already more flexible than my base. I have to work really hard. Like I feel a lot of tension here in my back to try and bring my chest forward because my natural resting position that I want to be in because of my current flexibility is somewhere like here, right? Like it's not perfect. My posture is bad. All this stuff is struggling to sit up, right? So like if I'm trying to straighten out my back to have really good posture and I try to lean forward, this is the angle I'm stuck at. I'm nowhere close to where we were when we were doing the standing version. So that's why I like to do the standing version, and that's why I like to do it with one leg at a time. I can actually get into a much deeper version of that stretch with one leg in the seated variation because I'm not trying to fight against the force of both legs. I'm fighting against the force of one leg. So those are all little mini techniques you can take away from beginner stretches. If somebody is doing something on the floor that requires folding forward and you just can't even remotely close get into that position, you can try lifting your butt up. You can sit on something taller like a couch or a coffee table or a stool. And if that is still hard or difficult, you're not really feeling the stretch, you might benefit from starting with the standing variation, okay? Because gravity is doing most of the work and helping you get into position. All right. That was a super long explanation for the hamstring stretch. We still have 4 more stretches. So let's get into the next one. The next thing we're doing is the butterfly. And the butterfly looks like this. We're bringing the feet together, and we're trying to open up the groin muscles and bring the knees to the ground. It's totally normal if your knees come up immediately when you bring your feet to your body. And I want you to focus on, especially if you've been here from the beginning of the exercises, flexing the glutes and flexing these outer thigh muscles to bring your legs to the ground. I want you to think of it as if you have a rope tied to your knees and they're pulling your hips open. All right. If you have a wall and you have something behind you that you can lean against, I recommend you rest your butt, your shoulders, and your head against that wall so that you can have good posture from the upper body while you're doing this. And one other benefit is once you've already started pushing your legs down, you can stick your shoulder into that wall behind you and then push your leg further down into a deeper stretch. The back wall helps you get a lot more stable and apply more force without depending on just your muscles. You get to use the wall to support you. All right. Ton of explanation. I hope that makes sense. We're going to do our 30 seconds. All right. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Relax. Remove the hands. Try to bring the legs back in. Usually after a groin stretch, I need to move a little bit before I do anything else because the groin just got stretched out. Okay. Let's keep going. We just did the butterfly. The next stretch is the pancake. And so the pancake is one of the best stretches for side splits. And it's because it's basically a side split and making it extra difficult. All right. What we're going to do to set up is stand up straight first, then try to slowly spread our legs out until it's no longer comfortable. There should be a natural point at which it gets uncomfortable because of bone structure. Your leg bone and your hip bone will be unhappy hitting against each other. So you can stop right around there. If you have no idea where that is, you probably haven't hit it yet, and you can just keep going. All right. Once it's getting a little intense, you're feeling a little uncomfortable, I want you to make sure you're folding at the hips. Same thing that we were doing for the hamstring stretch, folding at the hips. And I want you to bring your belly button down towards the ground. Again, your head can be all sorts of places. So if you focus on just where your head is, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. We want to focus on bringing the belly button down. All right. You can place your hands on the ground for a little bit of support if you're feeling off balance. I recommend you throwing your butt back to try and decrease the angle, same way that we were doing with the hamstring stretch earlier. And I hope you're in position because we're starting at 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. If you're feeling off balance, you can always have something that you hold on to for a little bit of support. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh. Okay. That's the pancake. My hamstrings are super tingly. So I always take a couple of seconds to get out of that stretch, shake out the legs before we move into the next one. The next one is relatively painless in comparison to the pancake. So we're going to do the pigeon or the figure four stretch. And what that looks like is we're going to bring the ankle up to the opposite hip and try to bring our chest down to that leg. All right. So it looks a little bit like this. Now, to do this on your back, some people call this the figure four stretch. When you get on your back, you lift the leg so that the leg rests on your other knee. You reach through and you pull everything back. You should feel the stretch on the outside of the thigh. You should feel it in the hip socket and joint. And that's it. Just apply steady pressure for 30 seconds. And don't start daydreaming and forget you're supposed to be stretching. All right? 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Slightly different variation that we're going to do next. It's typically called a pigeon stretch. And we're going to try and do the same thing where we bring the ankle perpendicular to the body. And instead of pulling our leg down, we're dropping our chest down. Frequently, you'll feel a lot of tension in this outer hip. So I recommend you take a couple of seconds to move a little bit in that position to loosen up that muscle. And then try to bring your chest center your leg-ish. This is slightly different for everybody because you have different lengthed bones. So you can feel free to experiment. But the goal is to bring the chest down to the ground and again focus on the belly button and where that is in space. If your head is coming all the way down and all of a sudden your butt is coming way high up because you don't have the flexibility, just try to keep your head a little bit higher and focus on keeping your butt down. All right, that's a whole bunch of information. Let's do our 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Remember to breathe. Breathing helps you relax. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. That is both legs, slightly different angle for both of them. And we are done with the pigeon / figure four stretch. The stretches are a little bit different, so you might feel the stretch more intensely in the pigeon because you have a whole bunch of body weight pushing down versus when you do the figure four, you're requiring your arms to pull your leg towards you. And sometimes you apply less force than your body weight. So play with it, experiment, and leg positioning, how close that leg is to perpendicular, or if you can't even get there, totally changes the stretch. So play around with that and experiment and see what works for you. All right, pigeon stretch is done. That means we are ready to do some actual side splits. Let's set up the side splits and keep going. All right, side split setup actually looks just like the pancake setup. So we're gonna do the same thing. Widen the stance, drop the hips, try to stand relatively vertical at first to get the weight into the hips to help spread your legs. And once you feel like you're getting stuck, the next thing I want you to do is externally rotate your legs. What external rotation means, and I'm gonna scoot over so you can see the whole leg on this side, is if your toes were pointing forward, I want you to rotate your leg so that your toes are pointing up. I don't want just your feet to point up. I want your knee to point up. I want your quad muscles to point up. All right, so the whole leg has to rotate from this direction to that direction. And I want you to do it on both sides. This opens up a little bit of space because it rotates a bone out of the way. And if you put some weight into your butt area by leaning back, you should get deeper into the stretch. All right. I think this is about as low as I'm going to get today. So I am ready to start 30 seconds in this position. The further you put your weight into your hips, the more intense the stretch will be. So give that a try, experiment. Let's start at 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. This should be uncomfortable, but it shouldn't be super painful. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Crawl forward. Try to bring your legs back together. And take a quick break. I'm going to crawl ever so slowly forward after that stretch to check out the comments. And that seems like we can probably move on. Okay, great. Next up, we're going to do a little bit of strengthening because that's what this is all about, to get strong enough to control your legs, your hips, and get into a strong side split position, right? So what we're going to do is the horse stance, and it's basically a side split, except you don't take into account everything below the knee, right? What we want to do is make sure you're using as much muscle as possible to control your hip and leg positioning. And what that looks like is getting into a squat position, trying to focus on bringing your knees back above your toes, holding this leg position using the outer thigh muscles and flexing your glutes. And once you've done all those things, I want you to try and straighten your back and hold up a very vertical posture. That will cause all the muscles in your back to start firing, in your glutes, in your outer thighs. And we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. We're going to do 2 rounds. Hope you're in position because we're starting. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, come on up. Rest for a second. We're going to rest for probably 30 seconds to a minute so that those muscles are ready to go for a second round. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about some things to keep in mind. When you're focusing on strengthening all these muscles and trying to bring your leg back and open, your legs are eventually going to get tired, and that's totally normal. That's totally okay. There's a couple of ways to reduce the intensity of the exercise so that you can keep going for the rest of the duration. Or, you can always stop and pause. But if you want to keep going, the way to make this exercise a little bit easier is to, instead of being all the way down here, trying to keep it back vertical, reduce the depth of the horse stance. That's totally fine. The next thing is, if your legs are super wide open, you're pulling really hard, and you're noticing you're getting tired, and your knee is starting to come inward because you can't hold the contraction of this muscle, just take a step in. Reduce the angle that you have, and your legs won't have to fire as hard, so that you can finish out the exercise. All right? That's a lot of demonstration. I don't know if I got enough rest. All right. Let's get ready to do the last horse stance and wrap up for today. All right. All right, let's go. Horse stance. I'm going to face you this time instead of sideways. Flex the outer thighs and the glutes to pull your legs wider open. Try to stand up a little bit straighter. Keep your torso nice and long. And 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Come on up. Take a rest. And we are done. That's it. We have completed our entire workout. It ran a little bit longer than I promised because we did a lot more explaining, because I think some of you were a little newer to the channel and the challenge. I hope it feels good. Thank you, Liverpool, for letting me know. I hope you feel like you accomplished something good today, especially if it's your first time joining in. It's not an easy workout, but it does hit every single muscle group that you need to work on in order to get into the side split. And it's just enough volume that if you do this workout 4 or 5 times a week, it should technically be enough by a couple of science research papers to make progress in the side splits. I don't know if you were here at the beginning when I said this, but the goal of this YouTube series, of this video, is to help everybody practice consistency, right? We show up live every day so that we have a nice little community of people who get to practice together. And the longer you spend on these lives with me, the less information you actually need and the faster you can go. So if you want, you can spend a minute holding a stretch at some point, because I talk for so long, and you can adjust what you need to get from the video as necessary. I only count down from 30 seconds, but if you want to do 45, you want to do a minute, and you want to just make small changes in the workout, by all means, that works. We're just here to create the time for you to do what you need to do, and hopefully it's side splits related, because that's what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, so congratulations. You have wrapped up a side split consistency workout, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow or the next day. I hope you're not too sore tomorrow if this is your first time, and you really shouldn't be, but they're definitely new muscles if you haven't used them before. And yeah, the workout's not designed to put you in too much pain. It's called splits on the side so that you can do other stuff, and the splits are the side thing that you're doing, right? We never want you to put you in a situation where you can't prioritize the other things in your life because of side splits. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming on. I will be back same time tomorrow, and I hope to see you there. Goodbye.